Saturday was horrendous. We all know and we can all acknowledge that. It took me back to a place that I never wanted to go again. Flashbacks of Fulham away, of Chelsea away last season, of Liverpool away last season, Arsenal at home. The list goes on. And yeah, the scoreline wasn't as bad as some of those end of Moyes era batterings towards the back end of last season. But the tone, the feel, and the overall performance aligned with that, which was a big concern. And it leaves Julian Lopetegui with significant work to do. There's already been the reports coming out that he's reassured and he's been told that things need to improve, and he's reassured people above him that things will improve. Now, there's quite a lot to dissect. Now the dust has settled. I was still a little bit too angry to do this yesterday, so I thought I'd jump on and do it tonight instead, and also have a little look ahead to what is a pretty big 7 days or 5 days really now for Julian Lopetegui in charge of West Ham. Now, I went into the Chelsea game with a little faintest bit of confidence, just some quiet optimism, and that was quickly eradicated after we conceded inside 3 minutes. And I literally couldn't believe, I couldn't believe what I was watching. The way they were cutting through us like butter was absolutely pathetic, right? Let's not beat around the bush here. Let's get straight to it. The whole tactical system of back five and Alvarez sitting deeper, then Rodriguez sitting deeper, it was a farce. It didn't work, and that experiment ends now. Let's hope that is the case, because what it did is that it didn't make us any stronger defensively, quite clearly, because we conceded 2 goals inside 20 minutes. And also it left a gaping hole in midfield, which wasn't the only gaping hole, unfortunately, which Chelsea capitalised on, walked straight through. And it was just a simple ball. It wasn't even anything special from Chelsea for those first 2 goals. It was a straight ball through. They did us for pace, which again is going to be an issue this season. Pace against these sides. I highlighted that against Fulham last week. Again, it was in the spotlight this week against Chelsea. Our lack of pace will be our undoing. It was again. They flew through 2 goals, 20 minutes. The game nearly done. We got a little bit of momentum. You can say what you like about the penalty incident, whatever, it's done. They've got a higher threshold for penalties this season. We've just got to accept it. I think it was a penalty, but it is what it is. There was the disallowed goal as well. So we built a bit of pressure, and it reached a climax when we scored that offside goal. And then we didn't really carry on. And then half-time came, and that stagnated any momentum that we had. And then, of course, conceding just 71 seconds after the restart ended all hopes of us getting back into the game. And it was similar again, a simple ball through, and Palmer gets in. There's question marks over Areola for the first goal. Okay, fine, have them, but he's got us out of many situations, and he prevented a goal in the second half from a header. Brilliant save. So I'm not taking too much criticism on Areola, but yeah, he should have saved one of the goals, but he's got us out of jail more times than he's made mistakes, I think it's fair to say. And overall, as I said, the tone and everything about it was just wrong. It was a London derby, and Chelsea won't have an easy game all season. And Chelsea aren't fantastic. Let's be honest here. When we had the opportunity to press them, if we'd actually pressed them properly, we would have forced mistakes out of them. But I've never seen such a half-hearted press with just Bowen jogging over, maybe somebody else if we're lucky. If we tried, it was so half-hearted, and they just got out of it so easily, and it was a complete waste of time. We need to be pressing them, a bit of urgency, a bit of energy. Get the crowd up, for goodness sake. It's a London derby. I mean, come on. It was so poor, and Lopetegui didn't help himself. He did himself no favours with the substitutions. Look, whether it was tactical or injury-based for Rodriguez, I don't know, but he acted, and that's what happened. But then that Summerville one summed it up, didn't it? Literally, there was a collective gasp and then followed boo around the stadium when Summerville went off. And no one was booing Antonio coming on. That's nonsense. They were booing the fact that Summerville was being replaced. Bearing in mind, he was our most attacking and biggest shining light in the time on the pitch that he played. And he actually made things happen, and he drove us forward, and he tried to impact the game in a positive way, and he got took off. And that just put the final nail in the coffin of a miserable afternoon at the London Stadium. So look, there's work to do there, and we've got 2 games this week. One of them, I don't think many particularly are going to take too much note of. It's Liverpool on Wednesday night. We've we did this exact same fixture last year and got absolutely battered. So if we could improve on 5-1, I think most would go, you know what, fair enough. But no, all jokes aside, damage limitation, really, isn't it? After some of our defensive displays in recent weeks, it's absolutely damage limitation. Depending on who he starts, will Todibo come in? What other changes will he make? I'd expect Wan-Bissaka to not play because I thought he was dreadful, I'm going to be honest, against Chelsea. And he was another reason, I forgot to say earlier, he was another reason why we were so open at the back, because he was playing more as a sort of inverted midfield role, staying up the pitch, which meant another hole, which Alvarez then had to plug, which meant we were just, it was just all wrong defensively. Everything about it on Saturday was all wrong, and we left ourselves far too exposed on the right-hand side because Wan-Bissaka didn't track back enough and quick enough. So that's got to be worked on in that sense. Liverpool are going to tear us an absolute new one if we play like that on Wednesday night. And when I say it'll be a cricket score, I'm not even joking. Like, it could be absolutely embarrassing. There's got to be a quick shift in that, and we've got to shore ourselves up defensively before we start thinking about scoring goals. Because let's be honest, it's a free hit. Liverpool are favourites to win. Liverpool are probably going to win. Let's just try and maintain a little bit of pride in this situation. The majority of West Ham fans are probably accepted we're not going to go through to the next round pretty much as soon as that draw was made a couple of weeks ago. So let's just not embarrass ourselves, and we've got to focus on what is now a must-win game against Brentford next Saturday. Must win now, isn't it? Let's not look. The fixtures weren't kind to us at the start of the season, but we've got to sweep that aside now. I'm just looking at the fixtures. We've then got Ipswich at home. Okay, it's another game. We need to be getting 6 points from these two games. Anything else, and I think it's a failure. I'm going to be honest. Right, Brentford are a good side, and I'm not diminishing their quality as a football team, but I'm not being funny, right? We would have taken a point against Fulham, would have taken a point against Chelsea, which we got nowhere near in the end. This game now, we really need to get a win on the boards, and look, we're having to do our work on the road away from home because we've lost our first 3 games of the Premier League season for the first time in our history. Look, I'm not going to go into that stat too much because we've had 3 really tough games at home, so don't read into that as much as some people are. However, it's still there and it still needs to be acknowledged in that sense. Brentford are an up and down team, and really it's got to be one, hasn't it? We need to gain a bit of momentum. He needs to establish his best 11, Lopetegui, because at the moment he's mixing stuff up. He's not quite sure with his midfield. He's not quite sure going forward. He hasn't got a clue what his best team is. If I sat down now, if Lopetegui was here and I asked him, what's your best team? I genuinely don't think he could tell me. And if he told me, there would be an element of doubt within his answer. That needs to be sorted ASAP, right? I'd expected him to have got that by 5 or 6 games into the season, which we are now, that he knows his best team. That needs to be sorted very, very quickly because it's causing mistakes and it's causing us to be poor and losing football matches. So there's a lot of work for Lopetegui to do. He's brought in some really good players, but they haven't bonded as a team. They haven't gelled as a team. They're a bunch of individuals plonked on a pitch and pretty poorly tactically put together, if we're talking about Saturday, if we're totally honest. So Wednesday, Liverpool, keep the score down, do ourselves proud. We're probably not going to win. Look, are you putting a little bit more onus on that game than I am? I'm just thinking that realistically, if we win, it'll be a miracle. We do need a miracle to beat them on Wednesday. The Brentford game is far, far higher on my priority list, if I'm totally honest, and we need to find a way of shoring ourselves up defensively and then being able on the attack to be clinical and have a flowing system from defence to midfield to attack, and it all stems to knowing his best team, and that's what Lopetegui needs to work on over the next week or so. What's your thoughts? Put it in the comment section down below. It's not been a great week for West Ham, scraping a point against Fulham, then being embarrassed against Chelsea in a really, really poor performance. Now we're straight into another tough game away from home at Liverpool in the Cup. Brentford in the league, which the pressure is well and truly on Lopetegui in that game. If there's no result out of that game, yet more pressure will mount on our new manager. Not in terms of being sacked, but the fans, they're starting to get a little bit restless. There was a lot of unhappy people in the London Stadium on Saturday, and that translated to social media as well. A lot of angry reactions. That needs to be rectified, and Lopetegui needs to earn his dough over the next week and find a way, devise a plan to beat Brentford and get ourselves back on track. From me, come on you irons, and I will see you soon right here on West Ham Unofficial. Thank you very much, and goodbye.